Hello, I'm Dr. Natalie Luke, host of the UnCeiling You podcast, where we explore the barriers women face, the bold steps they take, and the power of redefining ambition on their own terms. We're currently in Season 2, Part 2, where we're focusing on external barriers, and more importantly, how women overcome them with clarity, courage, and community. Last week, we journeyed with Mozella Perry Adamaluyi as she shared her ascent of Mount Kilimanjaro, a powerful metaphor for what it takes to align our head, heart, and hands in order to rise without burning out. Today, we continue that exploration through the lens of cultural navigation. You'll meet Mary Aguirre, an award-winning broadcaster who left behind a celebrated career in Mexico to begin again in the United States. Mary's story is a rich examination of what it means to start over, not just professionally, but emotionally and culturally, and what that translates to for you, whether you're thinking about leaving one work culture for another, growing from one role to the next, or simply evolving into a more authentic version of yourself. Is this: you can move forward without losing who you are. You can start again and bring your whole self with you. You don't have to abandon your roots to rise. In this episode, you'll hear cultural navigation, how Mary built trust, rebuilt her network, and preserved her identity while adapting to an entirely new set of social and professional norms. Understanding societal expectations, the surprising ways expectations for women differ between Mexico and the U.S., and how Mary challenges and redefines them on her own terms. How she uses her podcast, Latina con Maria Aguirre, to serve as a warm, grounded voice for Latina women navigating life transitions far from home. If you've ever felt caught between two worlds, whether it's between cultures, careers, or expectations, this episode will speak straight to your heart. Let's get started.
Can you tell me just a little bit about yourself? Like, how long did you work in Mexico as an adult before coming over to America?
Okay, since I had 14 years old, I have begun working on the broadcasting industry, mainly radio. So it's going to be 50 years, mainly. Even though that I was already living in the United States, but I was working on the foundation of the Chamber of National Broadcasting in Mexico. They gave me this award that is like the Oscar, the Antenna Award for the industry in Mexico, for my contribution to the country, to the industry in 2010.
Mary, welcome to UnCeiling You. I am so pleased to have you here because in this section, what we're doing is we're talking about external expectations, societal expectations that people have for women. And you're so special because not only are you an award winner for the work that you've done in Mexico, but now you came to America. You left behind one world to build another without losing your essence. And now you're experiencing expectations in one culture, and now you have a different culture that you're working in with a different set of expectations. But let's first of all talk about your essence of who you are and how did your identity as a Latina woman shift after migrating to the US? And what parts of your culture identity did you feel most committed to preserving it as you come to America?
Okay, first of all, Natalie, I am really, really proud to be in your podcast. Thank you for this opportunity to be on UnCeiling You. I know that is that you're bringing women with a lot of testimonies that can help another woman to go and grow. And I feel very proud of it. Thank you. Thank you for your invitation. Well, as you mentioned, I was born and did all my professional life in Mexico, mainly in broadcasting, mainly radio. But I was also an entrepreneur, a businesswoman. And because of any opportunities that life gave me, I came with my husband and my children to America 2009. That makes around 16 years ago. It was very difficult because in Mexico you have a network, a professional network, your extended family. You know who you are dealing with. You know, the person behind it is not only a professional person that gives you the card and that is very recognized on the society, but also, you know, if he's going to have ethics or not ethics, and if he's going to be truly compromise on helping you or not. And that was the hard part. When you come to America, you leave all that behind because it's
Right.
totally different to come to America. I was here almost 2 months visiting, doing business, back forward. And also, I studied here English. I lived here for 1 year, and nothing has to be the same as when you decide to come and live and stay in the country for years and now for life. Because you have to begin to do a networking, to know people, and knowing these people is not that easy because the cultures are very different. And I don't know if I can take the time to explain a little bit of the difference of the cultures. Can I?
Oh, please. Yes.
Okay. For the Latino and for me, mainly, you told me, what is your essence? My essence is three things. The first, my family. My family is very important for me to keep it together. The second is to serve. By serving, I feel that I'm transcending. It's not just the moment. And the third is the way that I know how to do it and to transcend by serving is by the communication. I have this talent that God gave me, and I have to use it. So when you come to America, the difference is huge. In Mexico, even when we meet someone, we shake hands, sometimes we kiss and embrace. Here in America, is a distance. You just say hi with the head. Not even the hand. The hand is very, very, friendly to say hi like this. Another thing is the emotions for the Latin American people. We express everything. If we are angry, if we don't like something, or if something happens, we like to share. In America, no. There is a very big difference and space between the persons. The privacy is a must for the American people. And so I think that's why is one of the most different things that the Latin American people cannot get engaged in very strong relationships with other cultures because they give this personal space that we are not used to. No.
I've heard that before. I have a friend who is Latino, and when she goes to hug me, I move back, like, wait, what are you doing? And that was something I had to get used to.
Yeah, exactly. Because for us, it's like, let me give you my love that I feel. And you're like, look, step out.
What's happening?
I don't need your hug. That's something that really happens, and it's shocking for us. Another thing that you have very good, and we don't have it that good. You are very strictly with your time, because time for the American people is money. For us, time is enjoying life. So if we are a little bit late, it doesn't matter that much. It's another things on life that matters more. And so all this, like for us, the Latin people, for doing business, we have to know the people. We have to know if we're going to trust it. Because if we trust someone, we can do whatever. We can go forward and do a relationship, not only in business, but also personal. For the American people, it's not that way. First, they do business. And if they say, okay, the business is okay, I may get personal with you, but not before. So it's the other way around. And to understand this is not that easy. Because in Mexico, mainly, all the business, we do it at lunch. You go to a comida that you know when you're going to start, but you don't know when you're going to end it. And it's with the food and everything that you get the deals. In the United States, that's not possible. Not for breakfast, not for lunch. You do business at the office. And that's it. And when you go forward on the business, you can go out with a dinner with a client or something like that. Because you have here like a very strong ethic that it cannot be like a corruption or something like that, no? And we don't see it like that. We see it like it's building trust.
Got you. Were there any expectations that you had or that you felt that were put on you as a businesswoman in Mexico that wasn't there as an expectation as a woman in America, or vice versa? Like when you came to America, did you ever feel like, hey, I'm going to do this and do business with you, and you were met with resistance that you would not have met with in Mexico?
Oh, yes, of course. And it's a resistance in both ways, because as I explained to you before, all these difference on cultures. When you come here, I mean, I live in Miami. Miami is a very Latin culture world, and even Americans, but from all Latin America. And everyone has a business, everyone has something to offer. But I cannot go into a business if I don't trust the person, even though the numbers will be the most important business that I could do in my life. And the other way around, in Mexico, knowing people, knowing the country, knowing the opportunities, knowing where you live, where you have already this sense of where to go, you know if this can work or not to do business. In America, it's not only knowing the people, it's also knowing the market, because the United States is not an easy market as everyone thinks it is. And that depends on the region, that depends on the how do you say, market? Yeah, market, if it's communications or it's... A lot of people ask me, hey, Mary, why you didn't went to the broadcasting industry when you came here? That was the one that you did. A long, long time ago, as a group of family, we came to United States and we did broadcasting in all United States. And the most difficult part was Miami. Because Miami, even though when you talk about the Latin culture, it's not one. I mean, it is like a melted, but and everyone feels different. It's not the same. A Mexican, Cuban, Colombian, Venezuelan, Peruana, they are very different cultures. And the way to do broadcasting in Spanish, that is just the language, the culture and the way they decide as an audience to hear is not that easy. It's different backgrounds. And so that's why I decided not to go in, because as a group, we didn't have a very good results here. And also, it was not the moment for me. It was a moment that I was traveling all the time from Mexico to Miami, Mexico, Miami, because as I told you before, I was at the time with my broadcasting radio stations managing, and also I was the president of the foundation of the Cámara Nacional de la Radio y la Televisión, that is like the chamber of the radio and TV, like the NAB, National Association of Broadcasting of Mexico. And my goal was to do everything that could do the social campaigns, not only with the government, but on the civil part, and help the people.
Gotcha. Many women are told what they should be until they decide what they want to be. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, what were the expectations placed on you as a woman growing up in Mexico, and how did those differ once you moved to the US?
Well, I have the big fortune to have a father that believed that women and men have to study and have to be independent economically. So my father, since I was little, I mean, I have to tell you that we were 11 children. I was the 10th of the 11 children.
Okay.
And my father was always worried about the little ones. And I was the only woman between 3 men. So he educated me and asked me to get the goals as my brothers. So he made me work since little. And he always told me, you have to be, when you decide, if you decide to be married, you have to get married to share your life, not to be, how you say, mantenida, not to be just to be with a man because you want him to be paying for your bills and the things. So that's the mentality of how I was educated and grown. Even though it was that the perspective of my family, it was not easy in Mexico. The mentality in that time was more men than women going into business. So when I came to United States, I found out a very easy path because it's more open for women to work and to be successful.
Did that surprise you?
No, because I knew it.
Did it surprise you that it was more open?
No, 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 not at all. It didn't surprise me because, as I have told you, I have been very near and close to United States culture. So I knew it.
Mhm.
I knew it that even though this is an important thing, maybe not as a woman, I had this soft path, but maybe as a Latin woman, it's not that easy. It's different.
I see. Okay. So the challenge was not that you were a woman, but it was because you were a Latino woman. In what ways, like, was there a challenge that you did not anticipate? And how did you work yourself through it?
Okay. One thing is the language. It's totally different to speak English as a social, or, but when you go into business, the way that you have to speak, talk, and everything on the business is another level. And I didn't have it. I'm trying to have it, and
I
I'm
see.
trying to effort, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy because the thinking and the emotions, the first language it arrives to your brain is in Spanish, your native language.
Yeah.
So even though that you know the vocabulary and you know the accent and you know everything, is not coming as fluent as it is for a person that, or even has grown here and do all his career or his high school. I see it on my children. My children sometimes now think
Yeah.
first in English than in Spanish because they came with 13 years old, and it's totally different from me. So that's mainly
Got it.
one of the, yeah.
So you're in broadcasting and now you have your own podcast. How has navigating the two cultures shaped your voice as a podcaster and a storyteller?
Well, I was really with a lot of I don't know how to express this, but I was killing myself to come back to communication. And so when I found podcast as a media that I can do it, I was very, very happy on it. So, and why? Because I told you on the beginning, one of my three goals in life is my family, serving, and communication. And for the Latin woman and the Latin people, one of the mainly things to say that they have success in life is because they have a family, they have also economically success, but also friends. It's more integral. It's not only by the money or the success or the house or the car. It's because of the family. And so I saw in this 15 years living in America, the difference and the perspective that I'm not saying that it's good or bad, it's different. The perspectives of Latin culture and American culture. And the most important is that for Latin Americans, we do everything for the family, everything. And the American people mostly looks for his wellness, his own personal, if you're okay, everything is going to be okay. And in most of the ways of life, aspects of life, if, for the American people, it's very easy that when they go to college at 18 years old, they are already grown-ups. They are adults. You have to leave them and do their lives. For us, it's a shock. How come a little guy of 18 years old is going to manage on our world? I have to be around. I have to look for him. And even though that we give this autonomy, we do not give it completely. It's not a way to look at. And
I have to
yeah.
say, like, my daughter, I understand my daughter went to college and I have her, like, I know where her phone is. So I'm like finding her. Where is she at now? She's at her dorm and I'm with my girlfriends and they're like, Natalie, stop that. And I'm like, but I need to know. And then I talked to my daughter and she's like, I kind of like it that you want to know where I am at. I totally relate.
Yeah. So another thing is that I saw that sometimes as I'm telling you, for the Latin culture is very important, the family. If we have problems, we try to do everything before quitting a matrimony or a relationship with a brother or siblings. And in here is like, okay, it doesn't work, leave it. Next. We do not do that. Another thing that is very important it is a quote that says, in America, we live for work. In Latin America, we work to live because
Yes.
we are more into an integrated life, like to have time for not only for work, but also for the family, for the friends, for enjoying life.
Right.
And so this perspective is a perspective that I saw that it was missing on the path, and that most of the Latin women felt a little bit loose because they are living in a different country, not only America, but other countries, not living in Mexico. And when they have some problems with their children or their husband or life, just life, the situation is very different when you go and talk to your mother at home or your brother or sister or friend than to have someone in this podcast that is named La Tía con Mary Aguirre and gives you a different situations on the perspective of the Latin American culture. Meaning,
I got
the
that.
title-
So when you chose the name of your podcast, it's like a companion for a journey. It's why did you choose that name and what does that mean to you and for your listeners?
Okay, La Tía in the Latin culture world is the person of the family that always is going to be for you there. It's going to hear you, is the one that you trust, and you talk to her, even the things that you don't do to your mother or your father. Is the one that is going to advocate for you in any circumstances, and is the one that you relate to the most of the family. If you ask any Latin American person,
You know,
who is the most important in you? Yeah, please.
I was going to say, I think that this is really important because there, you know, in just going back to some of the things that you said, American culture versus Latina and coming from Mexico and how supportive everybody is and caring towards one another, being there. There was one chain that had been talking about women in leadership versus men in leadership and how in order to really make it as a woman, you have to be cold and just cold-hearted. And what I hear you saying is 100% different. And I have to say, a lot of the women that I've had on my podcast are anything but cold, but it's so warming to hear you talk about how important family is and almost like people that are associated with you become part of your family. Am I hearing you right?
Yes, of course. That's part of it. It's like one of the most shocking part that I had when I came to America is that I had a problem, whatever, and I tell a friend, listen, can we go and take a coffee? I need to talk to you. And she put her agenda and say, maybe in a week we can meet from that time to that time. That was shocking for me because in Mexico and Latin America, if you say to a friend, listen, I need to talk to you. I need to take a coffee with you. She will go immediately. We will leave everything and have the time for you. And that is what La Tía con Mary Aguirre is meant to be, a companion in life. I'm not doing any advices. I'm not going to be the person to tell you what to do or what not to do. I'm just going to put by conversations, situations on life and matters that can help you to make your own decision. But I'm bringing you every part of the situation on life with the perspective of having the family together.
Thank you so much. We'll put some information about your podcast in the show notes to invite people to listen.
Thank you, Natalie. And it was a pleasure to be at UnCeiling You and an honor that you gave me. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Unsealing You. Today's conversation with Mary Aguirre was the perfect close to part 2 of season 2, where we've been exploring the external barriers that hold women back, things like societal expectations, cultural differences, and the challenge of staying true to ourselves in the face of change. Mary showed us how to navigate those barriers with grace, courage, and a deep commitment to family, service, and identity. She reminds us that you don't have to leave your roots behind to rise. You can build a new life while staying true to who you are. As we wrap up this part of the season, we're moving into part 3, where we'll focus on the mindsets that help us overcome hidden barriers, those internal and external forces that keep us stuck, even when we know we're capable of more. Next up, Dr. Ardashir Moran will help us crack open the conversation about mental health, burnout, and the deeper work of emotional growth. He'll challenge us to see depression and anxiety not as personal flaws, but as signals that we are ready to evolve. It's a powerful shift in perspective that will change the way you think about ambition, achievement, and your own potential. His insights will help us recognize that while we often fight hard against external barriers, it's that relentless fight that can burn us out. And that real transformation comes when we learn to shift our mindset, listen to our inner signals, and grow from the inside out. If you found value in this episode, please download it. It helps me keep this podcast going, and it helps you listen anytime, anywhere. And if Mary's story resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need a little encouragement on their own journey. Until next time, I'm Dr. Natalie Luke. Let's keep unsealing together. And remember, you have the power to grow while staying true to who you are.